You didn't choose this tank. The tank chose you. Smoke, fire, a machine screaming across open ground. 1941. The Eastern Front. Sweat on your hands. Lavers you don't fully trust yet. But it didn't start here. A second frozen in firelight, before you understood what you'd agreed to. This is not a war film. This is my story. Before the war, I was a mechanic in a small garage. My father was proud of that. Prouder than he ever said out loud. My mother baked bread every Sunday. That smell. I still remember it exactly. An ordinary town. Ordinary Saturdays. Nobody thought it would end. Then the radio announced the mobilization. My father didn't say a word. He didn't have to. A week later, the letter came. My mother didn't cry loudly. She just went quiet, and that was worse. I packed one suitcase. I didn't know what you were supposed to bring to a war. At the station, nobody said the real goodbye out loud. My father shook my hand like I was already someone else. The train pulled away, and my family got smaller and smaller. I didn't know if I'd see them again. Nobody on that train did. Around me, boys my age, pretending they weren't scared. And then, the gate. Rows of barracks. The end of being ordinary. They lined us up before we'd even put our bags down. The sergeant had one volume. Louder. They taught us not to think, only to obey. Then we saw it for the first time. 25 tons of steel. An instructor pointed into the engine like it was obvious. It was not obvious. My hands on the levers, my first time. My mouth completely dry. The tank lurched forward like a drunk man. Everyone laughed. Everyone but me. Gunnery next. Aim. Breathe. Wait. The cannon fired, and the whole world got louder. Otto made a joke about it. Otto made a joke about everything. Wilhelm didn't laugh. Wilhelm was younger than he looked. Otto and I split a tin of something unidentifiable and called it dinner. At night, I wrote home by candlelight, careful with every word. I didn't tell them about the fear, only about the food. Final test. Navigate the course, don't roll the tank, don't die trying. I passed. Otto gave me a thumbs up like I'd won a war already. They read the assignments like a sentence being handed down. I was assigned to the 3rd tank crew. 4 strangers who'd soon know everything about each other. Kruger looked at us the way you look at equipment you didn't order. He studied me for a second too long. I felt every second of it. Then he showed us our tank. Our numbers, painted fresh. Inside, 4 seats, no room, and a lot of very expensive metal. I squeezed into the driver's seat. My elbows found the walls immediately. Otto put his headset on like a crown. He loved that radio more than us. Wilhelm held a shell like it might go off just from being nervous. Kruger drew our tactics in the dirt with a stick. We listened like it mattered. It did. We painted a name on the turret. Small thing. It made the tank feel like ours. That first evening, we sat by a fire that wasn't ours yet either. Otto played the harmonica badly. Nobody complained. I wrote home again. This time I mentioned the crew. That felt important. A messenger arrived. Kruger's face changed before he even opened it. He read us the orders. Nobody joked this time. At dawn, we loaded the tank in silence. The war had a start date now. A column of tanks, dust rising behind us like a warning. I drove. I focused on the 10 feet in front of me. That was the whole world. We crossed a border that used to mean something to somebody. A village, gutted. Nobody had rebuilt anything. People watched us from behind fences. Nobody waved. Wilhelm kept peeking out the hatch like he needed proof this was real. We stopped, ate, said nothing worth remembering. We slept under tarps. The stars didn't care what we were doing down here. Then, flashes on the horizon. Distant thunder that wasn't weather. Kruger sat with Wilhelm a while. Didn't say much. Didn't need to. Morning fog. We kept moving through it. Craters. A burned-out truck. The road was starting to tell a story. We passed a dead tank, someone else's, and nobody spoke for a mile. Inside our own tank, the silence had a different weight now. We reached the staging area. Somewhere behind us, the real front line waited. Maintenance became a religion. You checked the tracks or you didn't come home. Otto fought with the radio daily. The radio usually won. We ate from tin cans by a fire that smelled like everyone else's fire too. For a few minutes, we almost forgot where we were. A letter from home reached me. I read it twice, slowly, on purpose. For a second, I was back in that kitchen. Then I wasn't. Rain turned the camp into mud and mud into a mood. Wilhelm wrote his first letter home. He rewrote it 4 times. Kruger talked about his life before this, quietly, like it belonged to someone else now. A flare went up. Everyone moved at once. We climbed in fast. Nobody needed to be told twice. The engine caught. Smoke. Bracing. We rolled out into open ground at dawn, exposed and moving anyway. Kruger scanned the horizon like he already knew what he'd find. And there they were, small shapes, far away. Not far enough. Fire. The cannon answered before I finished flinching. The shell crossed the field faster than I could follow it. Impact. A tank that used to belong to someone stopped existing. We cheered. It felt wrong and good at the same time. Then the ground near us exploded and the cheering stopped. The tank shook like it wanted out of its own skin. Wilhelm dropped a shell. His hands weren't listening to him anymore. Kruger's voice cut through the noise. Sharp, exact, unshaken. I fought the levers. The tank fought back. Through the periscope, smoke, fire, a battlefield that made no sense. Infantry ran alongside us, using us as cover we didn't offer on purpose. Another shell, closer. We ducked from something we couldn't outrun. Otto swore at the radio like it owed him an explanation. Another enemy tank, gone. Nobody cheered this time. The smoke thinned. The field went quiet in the worst way. We checked the hull for damage, found scars, kept them. I looked at what was left out there and felt nothing like triumph. It was my first victory. It didn't feel like one. Kruger laid out the map. Nobody's face looked good in that light. At dawn, hundreds of tanks lined up like the end of an argument. The sun came up orange. Nobody found it beautiful. Kursk, the largest tank battle in history, and we were inside it. A flare went up. That was the whole signal. We charged into open ground, dust behind us like a second army. Artillery felt like it had a personal grudge. The tank beside us took a hit and became a fire. I swerved. I didn't think. There wasn't time to think. The cannon fired again and again. Casings piled at our feet. Black smoke swallowed the field. We were driving blind. Wilhelm was hit. Blood on his sleeve, panic on his face. Otto wrapped his arm mid-battle, hands steady when nothing else was. Kruger kept directing fire. Calm, like this was a drill. An enemy tank filled the periscope. Too close. Point blank. One shot. Everything after that happened in silence, briefly. It went up in a fireball we felt through the hull. Then our own tank took a hit. Sparks. Noise. My ears rang. We checked for a breach. Found none. Found luck instead. The engine sputtered, choked, and died. We sat there, trapped, in a battle that didn't stop for us. I worked the engine like our lives depended on it. They did. It caught. Every one of us breathed for the first time in a minute. We pulled back through our own smoke, following tanks we barely recognized. By dusk, the field was wreckage. We were still breathing. Barely. Roll call among the wreckage. Some names didn't get answered. Gaps in the formation where people used to stand. Kruger read the casualty list. His voice didn't shake. His hands did. I heard a name I knew. I stopped hearing anything after that. A wooden cross by the road. We didn't have time to make it nicer. Wilhelm, in a hospital tent, arm bandaged, alive, which felt like enough. I sat with him, said the things you say when there's nothing to say. Otto stopped joking. That scared me more than the battle had. I tried to write home. I crumpled 3 letters before I finished one. I thought about the kitchen, the bread, a world with none of this in it. I didn't sleep. I just stared at the metal above me. Rain again. The camp turned grey and stayed that way. Every day, someone stopped being. That's the whole sentence. That's the war. Kruger put a hand on a young soldier's shoulder. No words. None needed. At dawn, new orders arrived. We hadn't finished resting. We never would. We faced numbers we couldn't outshoot. Everyone understood that without saying it, Kruger made the call nobody wanted to make. It was the right one. Our tank finally gave out. Smoke where an engine used to be. We climbed out through fire and hoped that counted as luck. We ran. Open ground, no cover, just distance between us and it. We raised our hands. That's the part they don't put in the recruitment posters. Behind us, our tank sat silent, still smoking, already becoming history. The war took my friends from me. It didn't take the memory of them. I still see us at that fire sometimes, Otto's harmonica, Wilhelm's nervous laugh. Years later, I walked a street I used to know by heart. My mother opened the door. Neither of us managed a full sentence at first. I sat by the window sometimes, holding a photo of 4 men who used to be a crew. That's them. That's all that's left of them, in a frame. This is my story. They are gone. But I remember.